Hello, everybody, and welcome to No Sevens Dice Club. I just didn't even worry about the camera today. I just left it and hooked it up because we're not shooting a craps video. We are going over Week 7 college football picks. We are officially at the halfway point. It's just flying by. I can't believe how fast it's flying by, how quick it's flying by. But it is already the halfway point of the season. Sad to see it go so quickly. You know, I look forward to it every year, and you blink and you sneeze and it's over with. All right, so if we followed my strategy last week, we did really well. The bullies, they won out. So if you did a parlay on that, congratulations. I did my $10 parlay. I got a comment saying, you know, you shouldn't do $10. If you know that your teams are going to win, do $50, just do $100. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. I do it just for fun. So I had one viewer email me and said he made $100 on it. So congratulations. He put $100 down. He won $100. You're basically doubling your money. It's easy money, like I said before in the week 6. You can make lots of money with it. And they should win outright with it, with the money line picks, the bully picks. The bully picks last week was Oklahoma won, Wisconsin won, LSU won, Notre Dame won, Texas won, Georgia, and Ohio State won. Pretty much a slam dunk. And if you did that, then you did right. And then if you did what I did the bullies, I did the money line picks on those, and then I took it, and then like I was saying in week 6, I did the Oklahoma, Wisconsin, LSU, Notre Dame, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State, and I added LSU minus 28 points, and I cashed in a $30 ticket right there because I did $10. So that was another good pop. And then one thing is that we're going to go back on the recap. Ohio State versus Michigan. Ohio State scored 34 points. Michigan State scored 10 points. And unfortunately, we didn't make the over like we thought they were. We thought Ohio State was going to do the 50 points by themselves. Obviously, they didn't come out to play this game the way they should have to make a statement for that game for the college committee. But a win's a win. But they did cover the spread. The spread was 19.5 points, so we did win on that ticket. On the individual ticket, we won. And the Georgia minus 25 versus Tennessee, we won that one too. We covered the spread on that. And we covered the over. You remember how I said I was going to take the over at 51 points? We covered the over on that. Pretty much what I said. I said that Georgia's going to score 45 points. They scored 43 points. I said Tennessee is probably going to score about 14 points. They scored 14 points. I pretty much nailed that one across the board. And then LSU won 42, and Utah State was 6. I said LSU is going to cover that one. They covered the spread of 28 points. And so if the individual tickets, LSU won, Georgia won, Ohio State won. And if you parlayed LSU and Georgia, you made another good slam dunk right there too. So all around this week, if you followed the picks, you did really well with all the parlays. The only parlay that we didn't do well was the 4-team parlay because Iowa did not cover for Michigan. Iowa only had 3 points. Michigan had 10. I knew it was going to be a defensive game. The under did cover. We didn't post it, and we didn't take the under, but the under did cover a whopping 13 points. Michigan did what they needed to do, like I was discussing. Michigan went in there and they handled business because of Jim Harbaugh's job on the line, and he needs to get that seat cooled down a little bit because it is getting really hot for him. He's a great coach, don't get me wrong. I don't know what's going up there in Ann Arbor. Maybe if I have a Michigan fan following, you can type in some comments, see what's going on up there. It's just, I expected him to be competing with Ohio State every year, and it seems like he just falls flat. I just don't know what it is. It's like he's somehow stuck in second gear and Ohio State's, in fourth and fifth gear just cruising along. But that's week 6. All right. So in total, the LSU Georgia parlay hit. The individual tickets, LSU Georgia Ohio State hit. The Bullies hit their parlay. And something that you can do that I forgot to mention last week is that instead of you doing a 4-team parlay, you can do LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, and Iowa. You could have done a round robin for that. The round robin would have been a smart play to do that too. So probably be something that I would do in the future. I probably won't do a 4-team parlay. I do a round robin. It doesn't pay as much, and it's a little bit more expensive, but you can cover the board a lot better, and you won't have one team just knock you out of that 4-team parlay. All right, so the Bullies for week 7, the halfway point. All right, guys, you ready? The Bullies I have for this week is Oregon, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame. I already know what you guys are saying. All the Florida fans are saying. You have LSU in there playing Florida. It's going to be a very close game, but I'm putting LSU for the win. It's at Baton Rouge. It's a night game. The crowd factor is going to play huge in there. You're going to have about 100,000 to 110,000 people all screaming for LSU. I expect it to be a high intensity game. We're going to go more into that in a second. And then we have Notre Dame. So once again, the Bullies are Oregon, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame. Those are the money line picks for week 7. Some of them are probably going to be pretty close, but it's gambling. It's you can pick the teams you want. These are my teams, so I'm going to go with. These are the teams that I think are going to win flat outright. All right, so I went ahead. I did 2 dark horses this week, and I did 4 teams that I think are going to win. This week was a little bit more challenging than week 6. We're getting into the meat of the schedule for a lot of teams. So a lot of the easy teams that teams are facing now are going by the wayside. Now we're getting into the meat of the schedule, what the conferences are facing, and everything else. So we're going to talk about Florida and LSU first. Florida probably has one of the best defenses LSU is going to see all season in the regular season. Their front line for Florida is probably one of the best in college football. A lot of NFL talent on the defensive ends and the defensive tackles. The linebackers are really fast. The corners can cover really well. The problem is their weak link is the corners cannot cover all the speed receivers that LSU offers. You have Jordan Jefferson and you have Chase. For the wide receivers, you don't have Terrence Marshall Jr., which is a good thing for Florida. He's another 5-star wide receiver. I think he was ranked number 2 in the nation, number 3 in the nation, coming out of high school. He's out of this game. He's practicing, but he's not going to be in this game right now, so that's a huge boost for Florida. But you do have to cover they do have a tight end named Thaddeus Moss, who's Randy Moss's son, who's getting into his own. And they have a couple other players who can step up and take Terrence Marshall's place. With that being said, it looks more favorable if Joe Burrow can get his time and he can get his reads down and he can find an open receiver. He's got 2 great wide receivers who are going to be NFL talent. And then you do have a tight end and some other wide receivers who can find an opening. That's where a weakness might be because Florida does have great corners, but you don't have the depth of corners like they do with the depth of wide receivers, if that makes sense. This game's going to come down to the trenches. The offensive line for LSU versus the defensive line for Florida. who's going to control the line of scrimmage. And that's going to be the thing. Also the thing too is to look at is Joe Brady is used to running a very pro-style offense, a very up-tempo offense with Drew Brees. Look for Joe Burrow to run a very fast pace like he did on Texas in the second half of this game. It's going to be up-tempo. It's going to be fast. There's not going to be a lot of substitutions. He's going to be calling plays from the line of scrimmage. He's going to be he's going to be calling different plays. He's going to switch up the plays at the line of scrimmage. And I really do believe this is going to be the make or break moment for Joe Burrow for the Heisman race. He's not worried about the Heisman race. He wants to focus on a national championship for the team, which is smart. But in the back of his mind, he's going to be thinking about that Heisman. So with that being said, all these games between LSU and Florida have always been very, very close. Right now they have LSU minus 12.5. I went ahead and I locked in this pick. I took LSU minus 12.5. I don't know if they're going to cover or not. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. I think LSU might win this game by 10 points. I don't know. I might be completely wrong, but I think LSU might win this by 10 points. But I went ahead and took LSU minus 12.5. And that's my pick. That's what I locked it in as. All right, the next game is USC is playing at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is minus 11 points. USC is starting to find their own. They've been struggling all season. Notre Dame is still trying to compete for a New Year's Six game bowl. I don't think they have what it would take to make it into the college football playoffs after the loss of Georgia, but I do think they're going to compete really hard for a New Year's Six bowl. So look at Notre Dame. I took Notre Dame minus 11 points in this game. I think, because they are playing at Notre Dame, I think they are going to win this game. The next game we have up is Penn State is minus 3.5 points against Iowa. The same Iowa team that's going against, that went against Michigan last week. They're licking their wounds pretty bad. Penn State runs a very good offense, and they have a really good defense too. Penn State's a pretty legitimate team right now. Iowa is, like always, stuck in first or second gear, kind of like Michigan when it comes to the offense. They can't quite figure out, but they have a great defense. The point spread is at 40 points. The over-under line is at 40 points. I didn't touch that. I didn't even mess with it. But I went ahead and I took Penn State minus 3.5. I think Penn State's going to win this game. They have a great offense and a great defense. I don't think Iowa's going to be able to get this win. And so I see Iowa losing their second game and Penn State winning this. All right, the next game up is Alabama at Texas A&m. Alabama is minus 16 points. They're playing at Texas A&m. This is the first game that Alabama actually has a challenge. They have not played anybody yet with any kind of strength of schedule. It's been pretty much, they've been on cruise control, riding on the interstate to the college football playoffs. They don't have an impressive resume. They haven't been challenged at all yet. This is kind of their first game, but it's not even really a first game to really challenge them. Arkansas took Texas A&m to the wire. Arkansas always does play Texas A&m very tough. But Arkansas is still showing that they're improving a little bit every single week. Texas A&m is still showing the same old, same old. Doesn't look like they're getting better. Doesn't look like they're getting any worse. With this, they held Clemson to 24 points. I think they ended up scoring 10 points in that Clemson game. So with that being said, I think Alabama is coming off of a bye. Nick Saban does really well when he comes off of byes. He usually has a pretty good record when they're coming off of byes. So I went ahead and I took Alabama minus 16 points with this. All right. For my two dark horse teams, I went ahead and I took, we have, for our Thursday night game, we have Syracuse at North Carolina. North Carolina is minus 4.5 points. Syracuse normally doesn't do well playing on the road. But Syracuse normally doesn't do well playing on the road. North Carolina took Clemson to the wire, almost beat them. It should have been a different play at the end of that game. You shouldn't have put all your pressure on the quarterback and try to do an option pass or an option run play on trying to make a 2-point conversion. It was a horrible decision by the coaching. It should have been, you should have kicked it in there and gone for overtime. The momentum, the pressure, everything else was on Clemson to beat out North Carolina. I think they could have probably beat them in overtime. The whole entire momentum was on North Carolina for that game. It should have went to North Carolina. But with that being said, we are going to take North Carolina minus 4.5 points. They're playing at home. I think Mac Brown's got that team turned around. They're going to play a lot better, and they're going to play like their hair's on fire to prove that they are a really good team. So we took North Carolina to upset Syracuse. That is my dark horse pick for Thursday night. And then my other dark horse pick is Florida State at Clemson. We talked about Clemson a lot in Week 7. And everything else. They almost lost to North Carolina, like I just mentioned. Florida State is plus 27 points, and it's a lot of points. I don't think Clemson is a national contender this year. I think they're squeaking by an easy ACC schedule that they have. They haven't really played hardly anybody to really challenge them, except for North Carolina. I think if you were to put in a top 10 team against Clemson right now, I think they would end up losing that game because they do not have what it takes to compete on a national level. And I think that's going to be interesting how the committee ranks them at the end of October. So Florida State is playing at Clemson. Clemson is going to come out with something to prove after almost losing that game against North Carolina. They're coming off of a bye. Clemson is, but Florida State is getting better a little bit each and every single week. And I don't think they're going to be able to cover the 27 points. Clemson is going to win this game, but I don't think they're going to be able to cover the 27 points. So I went ahead and took my pick that Florida State is going to cover the spread at 27 points. That is my dark horse pick for Week 7. And we're going to recap real quick and then go from there. So the bullies are Oregon, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame. Those are my money line picks. Those are the teams that are going to win outright. And then we have LSU minus 12.5, Notre Dame minus 11, Penn State minus 3.5, Bama minus 16, dark horse picks, North Carolina minus 4.5, Florida State plus 27 points. Those are my Week 7 picks. Those are the teams I'm going with. You can pick whoever you want. You might not like those picks. I don't hold any bias to any team. There's not a favorite team that I look at when it comes to picking. I do have a couple of college teams I really do like. I'm very passionate about. But when it comes down to money, I don't look at a particular team and say they got to win. I've picked against my team a few times, knowing that they won't be able to cover the spread. But it's business. It doesn't mean you have to pick your team knowing that they're not going to be able to cover the spread. It's strictly business. I don't think your team is going to send you a hate email saying, "Hey, why did you pick against us?" knowing that we're not going to be able to cover the spread. They're not going to do that, guys. So, with that being said, I'm going to take my bullies pick, and then I'm going to pick. I'm probably going to do the bullies pick. I'm going to take the money line picks like I mentioned, and then I'm probably going to add the North Carolina game to it. So that way it pays out a little bit more. I'm going to do one for the money line, and then I'm going to do another money line with the North Carolina pick and add $10 or $20 to that one. And then I'm going to do like we did on Week 6. I'm going to add each team individually. Each ticket's going to be individual. And then I'm going to parlay 2 teams together. So I have 6 teams, so I'm going to parlay 2 and 2 and 2. And then I'm going to parlay all 6 of them with a round robin. It's going to be a little bit more, but this way it's covered. And that way we're still making money. We're going to go through the levels of progression, and you're going to be able to cover a little bit more each time. So if they all pay out pretty well, and you do $10, $20 on each one, you should be looking at a payout of about $200 to $300. With mine, the way I have my payout, I don't discuss that until the week after. I don't like jinxing myself. This is the only thing I'm superstitious about. I don't like jinxing myself when it comes to my picks. I give you my picks on who I like, and then we go from there. I don't talk about how much money I bet on my picks. It's just something I don't like doing. But if you bet $10, $20, whatever you feel safe with, it's up to you. I just do this to give you guys kind of a guiding point. There might be teams that you like. You can send me who you want me to look at for week 8, and just let me know. And just let me know what you think about your picks, what your comments are about the picks I picked, and let's just talk about it. All right, guys. That's my week 7. I hope you guys have a great night. Stay tuned for Thursday. We're going to talk about turning $27 into a pot of gold, into $700. Also, I just realized while I was doing this video, if you do look, I was testing out my strategy that I'm going to go over Thursday. If you look at it, there is a ton of 5s covered, a couple of 6s, a couple of 8s, and a couple of 9s, and a couple of 10s. So we're going to talk about this strategy. I rolled my roll using the dice set that we're going to go over on Thursday, and I was able to roll 20 times on my board, which is pretty impressive. I'm pretty proud of myself for that. We only hit 3 horn numbers, and then the rest is all right here on the board. So we're going to go over that on Thursday. I'm going to show you guys how to make a lot of money on the craps table with this. It's something that's very simple, and something that you're probably going to sit there and slap yourself and saying, holy cow, why didn't I think of something this simple? I probably overthought it. But it's going to be really cool. I really look forward to sharing this with you. And I want you guys to be successful at the craps table, because when you're successful at the craps table, you're happy, you're having a good time, and you're able to get a lot more accomplished in life. And that's my whole entire goal with this channel, is to make you guys feel more accomplished, to get you guys achieving those goals that you want to achieve. But anyway, that's my week 7 picks. I hope you guys have a great week watching this week, and enjoy some college football. I'm really looking forward to this Florida LSU game. Game day is going to be in Baton Rouge, and I think it's going to be a great environment. But you guys have a great night. Take care, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.